Shakira Brown, and I'm the Southeast Region Director of Community Engagement for JPMorgan Chase Corporate Responsibility. JPMorgan Chase is proud to support WEOP's Economic Equity Forum and the organization's ongoing work to foster the economic advancement of women of color who are self-employed and small business owners. Supporting the wealth creation and economic success of women of color is foundational to building more equitable and inclusive communities, especially as the number of businesses owned by women of color grows. In addition to the many challenges small business owners have faced over the last few years, from business interruptions to material shortages, we know that long-standing structural barriers continue to exist. Access to capital, technical assistance, mentorship, and other critical resources needed to support business growth still aren't equitably available, and the impacts from COVID-19 have only widened racial, gender, income, and wealth gaps. JPMorgan Chase is committed to Georgia's businesses, including Black, Hispanic, and Latino, women-owned and other underserved small businesses, to close the racial wealth divide and create a more inclusive economy and recovery. In Atlanta, we're supporting organizations like WEOP and others that are working to break down barriers and open doors to opportunity. We are supporting Atlanta's CDFI ecosystem of capital and technical assistance providers who are tackling issues such as capital, access to capital, market connections, and management support. As part of JPMorgan Chase's 5-year, $30 billion business-led racial equity commitment, we are providing one-on-one coaching, technical support, and access to capital via our Minority Entrepreneurs program. We are increasing our spending with diverse suppliers, helping more diverse-led companies with information on how to become certified. As part of these commitments, you can find members from our community banking team, the Chase Lounge, and at the Russell Center, and throughout the community building relationships. WEOP, thank you again for the opportunity to partner on this year's Economic Equity Forum and your longstanding commitment to supporting women of color, business owners, and entrepreneurs in Atlanta and connecting them to each other and opportunity. Thank you to all of the forum speakers for contributing your knowledge and insights and to make this year's program a success.
My name is Antionette Ball. I'm one of the founders of the organization, the Women's Entrepreneurial Opportunity Project Incorporated. We founded WEOP like 22 years ago, so we are in celebration. And we are happy to celebrate the Economic Equity Business Forum today. And I want to say thank you to all you ladies for coming out today. Also, I want to shout out our sponsor, JPMorgan Chase, because without them, it wouldn't be possible. Sponsorship support the great things that we do in the community, and we thank you for all your support. I want to extend this thank you to all the phenomenal women that are in the room making this happen. For example, we have some great partnerships, and they support everything we do as an organization. So I want to say thank you to Rachel Shanklin. Rachel, thank you for partnership. And we have a great partnership with Small Business Majority. And because of that partnership, this year we did some amazing workshops and have impacted over 500 plus entrepreneurs with our virtual workshops, our sessions, and our things that we do, our training classes as well. So also, Donna, Ennis, I want to say thank you too, because this is the first time that we've had an event on the campus of Georgia Tech. So thank you for making that happen, because our partnerships strengthen what we do as an organization, and without our partnerships, we cannot do specific things. So Donna, and thank you for all you do in the community to support women and minority-owned businesses. This is a great program, and I hope that you guys utilize it as a resource, because we have some amazing resources that support women in the community as well. Also, we had some other community partners, 9 to 5, the Association for Working Women, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. They're one of our partner organizations. I don't know if Kim is here today, or is anyone here from Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce yet?
Veronica, she's coming.
Okay, great. Okay, well, just wanted to say thank you for those partnerships, and to say that we are here today as we celebrate Women's Small Business Month. This is our 3rd annual Economic Equity Business Forum, and this event is designed to engage in insightful conversations that are important to our community of entrepreneurs and business owners. WEOP understands the importance of engaging in important conversations on critical issues that really impact women. So as an organization, we're not just focusing on training. We want to start having conversations about things that really matter. And sometimes we have to have really hard conversations because we're all about how we can drive the success and support the growth and revenue and just support our community of business women. And we know that with the pandemic, there's a lot of things going on. We've seen some businesses thrive. We've seen some businesses close and shut down. So we're economically, because of the war and everything going on, there's just a lot of things going on. So we are trying to encourage women to support each other and as an organization to do programming and things that can support women of color and advance women of color in the community. Our ongoing theme in 2023 is going to be advanced women of color in business. And today the discussions are going to focus on 4 very important pillars: civic engagement, future growth, insights, and how we can amplify our voices of women. So we will have all of our sessions that are segmented to talk about that. We utilize this forum to bring attention to issues and to really deep dive into issues and have fruitful conversations. So as an organization, this is a very important platform to give us the opportunity to just talk about those important things. And every time we have a business forum, we publish a brief and still talk about it, highlight it on social media, and we just want to kind of keep the conversation going. So I'm happy that we're all gathered today for this great celebration, for celebrating Women's Small Business Month. And I want to say thank you for all the women. Thank you to our advisory board, our board of directors, our volunteers, our members. We really sincerely appreciate you. And we appreciate everything that you do in our community to support and make us great. Let me see if I have anything else to say, since I can't see, I don't have my glasses. And I want to say that our future will depend upon the actions that we take today. We have to be strategic. We have to collectively support each other. And we have to continue to build economic power within our communities. We also support other women who are looking to start nonprofit organizations, because we understand that when I started WEOP like 22 years ago, I started with about 30 other nonprofit organizations. And today, I don't know anybody else who's still doing this work, because it's hard work. Getting sponsors and raising money is very hard. So I just want to encourage everybody, if you have a business, if you have a nonprofit, if you're in corporate America, let's just focus on how we can support each other. We have to be strategic. I always say we have to take a nickel and make it into $1. So I'm just looking forward to 2023. We have some great announcements. We have a great partnership this year. We partnered with Emory University. They're one of our strategic partners. They're an anchor institution, as you know. And we also have a great partnership. If you notice in the bags that we have at the front desk, Glossier came in and they're selling a cosmetic bag in the store, and the proceeds are going to benefit WEOP as an organization. Right. So don't forget to pick up the bag from Glossier. They just opened up a store in off of Ponce de Leon. I don't know what the plaza is called. But again, I just want to say thank you, Ponce City Market. And they're one of our strategic partners as well. But I'm excited, and I wanted my twin sister, Antionette. She's the other co-founder of WEOP. She's been with me through thick and thin. Antionette, you want to come up and say a few words? But we run the organization hand in hand. So thank you very much. Thank you. And now we can bring Stephanie, I've known Stephanie for a very long time. Stephanie, she's a Harvard trained attorney. She didn't say that. So she's going to give us a little bit of inspiration and.
Well, good morning again, everyone. I would take myself as the official hype woman. I got an outfit to bring you. Yeah. Well, I will encourage you with my words. So I want to bring to you 3 points today. I'm going to talk about living life in the and, embracing disruptive elevation, and being the Netflix of your life. Okay. All right. So are you intrigued? All right. Well, as I mentioned, I am the liberated lawyer. And it is a choice and a decision to live this life to the fullest because we're only given one. And a lot of times, we say life is too short to be, no. Life is too long to be unfulfilled. So we need to embrace every moment that we can to be fulfilled. I'm a lawyer by trade, but I am a creative by spirit. I create solutions for my clients, but I create joy for myself and others. And I believe in this concept called, well, it's not a concept, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of being, living life in the and. I know you're like, okay, what is that? Well, a lot of times we are given choices and, we will think, well, we can do this or that, or, I've only got this little box of things I can do. I can do this over here. But living life in the and is the intentional and deliberate creation of the life you desire and deserve. Because you won't get the life you desire and deserve if you think that you can live your life in a box of the expectations of others, or you put yourself in the box of the fears that you have from stepping out, or you allow others to box you into what they think you ought to do or ought not do. And living life in the end is this mindset. It's a lifestyle, but most of all, it's a transformation that's built on innovation. And it starts with asking the question, why? Why do I have to do it this way? Why not do it another way? How can I create the life I desire and deserve? And most of all, why not me? Yeah. So those are some questions I want you to ask yourself every day. Why? Why not? How? Why not me? Living life in the end is built on a mindset, because here's one thing I want you to remember. Every thought creates a future. So the thought you're having right now has already created a future for you. So it's important for you to be intentional, be mindful, be deliberate about the thoughts you are creating. Because if you create the thought that this is going to be hard, I can't do it, it's too much. Well, guess what? It's going to be hard. It's going to be too much. You're not going to do it. All right. So you've got to have a mindset that is built on solutions, which gets me to the second part of living life in the end is creating your circle of influence. And you are in a circle of influence. WEOP is the ultimate circle of influence for women entrepreneurs. So build up on that and ensure that you're intentional about not just meeting people, but connecting and adding value and receiving the value that they bring. And as we know, the things we do, every time we show up in excellence, there's a system behind it. There's a secret sauce that each of us has that creates the excellence in our lives. But have you ever really thought about what that is and distilled that into a process, into a system, and been strategic about how you create your secret sauce? Your power is in intentionality. And I'll use that word over and over again. It's intentional. But your power is in intentionality and understanding when you are at your best, what are the factors involved? How are you showing up? How are you not showing up? What are you doing? The next part of living life at the end is this concept of getting mad. Now, I'm not talking about getting a little mad, where you get a little upset when folks don't do you right, right? When things don't go right, when you are upset with yourself, but getting big mad, getting motivated and determined. Because life is not easy. And when you are out trying to do big things, that's when life gets to be really challenging, because you're pushing yourself. You're getting out of your comfort zone and into your excellence zone. So get big mad, get motivated and determined, and ultimately remember that question, why? What is your why? What is the reason that you get up every day and put the hard work you do into your business? Why did you even do this to begin with? It's because you have a purpose that's greater than you. It's greater than any challenge. It's greater than any difficulty. It is the reason that it's important for you to keep going. So let's think about this concept of disruptive elevation. I love this concept. I don't love going through it, but I love the concept. So, we all face disruptions. I mean, the pandemic was like the disruption of all disruptions, but it also was the genesis of great innovation. a lot of things that we were reluctant to do beforehand, we allowed technology, we embraced technology to show us different ways to do business. And so disruptive elevation is understanding that life does not always go as planned, but it always goes as it should every time. And even though it's not the A, B, C you started out with, it's the A, D, P, Q. It's something that you never imagined. But when you allow yourself to be in the process and you allow life to show you the way, because it will, and you get out of your own way, you can create something better than when you started before. And, you know, I won't say had the pleasure, but I have experienced a lot of losses. I've lost a lot of things, but here's one thing I know. I've never lost anything that didn't need to be released. Okay, I'll say that again. I've not lost anything or anybody that did not need to be released. And here's one thing I want you to embrace about loss. We're not trying to be losers, no, but we're trying to make room for more.
Yes, they do.
We're not trying to make room for more. We are making room for more. So when you face these disruptions, remember, they are not here to tear you down. They are here to make room for more. And so the last thing I want to leave with you is we must become Netflix. Now, I just turned 50 back in September, and I know I'm not the only one in the room that remembers Blockbuster.
Yes.
I'm saying, on Friday nights, I used to go to Blockbuster, pick out my little tape. I'd pick out my tape and hope that they had enough copies of the movie I wanted to see. You know, you had to go to Blockbuster, you had to physically go there, pick it out, go back home, watch it. You had to get it back by 6 o'clock. That was going to be late, right?
Yes.
And that was the way we did things. That was the way we were able to see the movies we wanted to see at home. And then here comes Netflix. Netflix say, hey, why do we have to go to the store every time? Why can't the videos come to us? But by this time we had elevated to DVDs.
Right.
You know, why can't we do things differently? And they came up with this system where, you know what, we're gonna mail.
Right.
Yes, some of y'all, you know, we used to get the DVDs in the mail, right? Yeah, but the great thing was you didn't have to get it back by a particular time.
Right.
You watched it, you kept it until you were finished watching it, and then you mailed it in, and guess what? You got your other one that came right on in the mail. All right. But here's one great thing about Netflix, or one thing I want you to think about kind of how Netflix came to be and why Blockbuster is no more. Netflix came up with this idea, or the founders of Netflix came up with this idea, went to Blockbuster and said, hey, why don't we mail them? Or whatever the description of the business model was. And the Blockbuster CEO literally laughed in the face of Netflix. Next, Netflix said, all right, I can show you better than I can tell you. And Blockbuster is no more. And the point of all of this is we've got to be willing to ask why. And when that big idea comes in our heads, when that big idea comes before us, we can't laugh at our own dreams.
Yeah.
We have to be willing to ask why not, ask how, and stand up and say, why not me? So that's what I want to encourage you today, is to remember that you got to live life in the and. Don't accept the box. Create the and in your life so that you can have the life you desire and deserve. Embrace disruptive elevation, because every disruption comes in your path to elevate you for more. And be the Netflix of your life, the Netflix of your business, the Netflix of this community, the Netflix of the world. Don't laugh at your own dreams, and take your why and take it to the next level and serve others through your purpose.
Before I sit down, I want to share some books. Of course, you know, I've got a book, and guess what it's called?
Disruptive Elevation.
Okay.
Life doesn't go as planned, but goes exactly as it should. And I'm going to share, I've got 4 copies I'm going to share with some of you in the audience. I always like to have a little participation. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Well, I've asked 4 questions. And the woman who is bold enough to answer, you'll get a copy of my book. So we're going to start with the first question. I want to know who is ready to harness the power of choice and to live their life in the end. Who's ready? All right, I saw your hand first. What's your name? Markela. All right, so tell me, how are you going to live your life in the end?
I am going to have a bold idea that I've been thinking on. I just wrote it down. I am going to make that thing happen.
You're going to make that happen. I have is who is ready to be fulfilled now in this life? Who's ready to be fulfilled? All right. Neil, so tell me, how are you going to be fulfilled? What are you going to do to be fulfilled?
I am going to start taking better care of myself and loving myself so that I can live boldly and unapologetically.
All right, so the next question I have is, what disruptive elevation do you intend to embrace in your life today? Oh, you got quiet on me. You got quiet on me. All right, what disruptive elevation? All right, what's your name?
My name is Tanya Forrest Hall.
All right.
I encourage all of you to fill your own cup.
Yes.
Because all of this, everything that she said encompasses your own cup. I think as women, we have the tendency to feel as if we have to pour into everyone else and we put ourselves last. And you can't pour from an empty cup. So unless you do that, unless you invest in yourself, you can't serve yourself, you can't serve your family, you can't serve your community, you can't build anything. So I encourage you to do that.
All right, here you go. Thank you. I can get back to my 4th question and last book. All right, so the last question is, how will you become your new Netflix? How will you become your Netflix? All right, y'all got quiet on me again. All right, so how are you going to be your Netflix?
I've shared, oh, thank you, first and foremost. So I've shared some of my future plans with Mary and Antionette. I wrote a book that pretty much talks about my last 12 months as a female, Black female in business, dealing with oppression and modern day oppression and entrepreneurship. And I had 375 pages of a book, so I had to break it up into parts, right? So we got 3 parts. We have a series.
All right.
And I'm already in, the talks in search of working with directors.
All right, that's what I was asked, but we didn't get it on film. All right. So I just thank all of you. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're fired up and ready, and I'll see you around.
I'm Rachel Shanklin. I'm the Georgia Director and the National Women's Entrepreneurship Director for an organization called Small Business Majority. We are a national 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to empowering America's diverse business owners, specifically working with BIPOC entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, rural entrepreneurs. Any rural people in here? No, I'm the only one.
We're all real.
All right. So I say all that to say, this panel is very near and dear to my heart. The people on the panel are very near and dear to my heart. I just want to give you guys a little bit of context as we go into this conversation. The small business community would not exist without entrepreneurs elevating your voices, right? We know that Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the US, 2.7 million in the US right now. I say all of that to say, without small business advocates, we would not have successfully implemented policies regarding anti-monopoly regulations, startup community funds, COVID-19 relief dollars, and access to healthcare. Small business majority is very passionate about these topics because we work day in and day out with business owners who are engaged and active in their community. We see firsthand how much our community is better because of civic engagement and the expertise and how invaluable businesses are because of their participation. So our panel today is going to consist of an entrepreneur, a Georgia State representative. If somebody, I know Representative Schofield's getting her makeup done. Could y'all let her know that we're starting the panel? Sorry, she's trying to get good looking for y'all. So in addition to passing meaningful policies that support businesses and communities, something that our organization does is really elevate the voices of business owners, because we have found that oftentimes larger businesses will speak out on small business issues when they have like 499 employees. We work with people who are self-employed, those micro businesses, less than 10 employees, to really provide the authentic voice of small businesses to policymakers, to the media. So that is what we're going to talk about today. We hope that this panel shows the audience that civic engagement is accessible and can be used to boost your business and social capital. So this is going to tell you all how to learn that action can actually be an opportunity for entrepreneurs to achieve systemic change that supports a vibrant small business community, all while giving your business visibility and supporting your own values. So as we go through this panel, I want you to ask yourself these questions. If policy is going to work for someone, why is it not going to work for me? Why not have it work for me? How can I uplift my business while supporting my community? So with that, I'd like to invite the panelists up. We're going to get into our discussion. Unfortunately, Micah Whitfield from 9 to 5 was unable to make it because she had some family concerns, but we do have our representative Allison Glass from 9 to 5 Georgia, the National Association of Working Women, Keela Taylor, and Representative Schofield. Come right over here. Thank you, ladies. Everybody feeling good? Y'all ready to soak it up like a sponge?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so let's get started. First question is going to be for really all of you, but I'd like to start with Keela. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your business. How did you get started in civic engagement, and why do you care?
So quick backstory. Again, my name is Keila Taylor. I got into entrepreneurship because my dad, back in 2010, he was facing a double life sentence in prison. I'm a daddy's girl. I was totally content working in my 9 to 5, working at an insurance agency, doing 5-figure premium per month for someone's agency. So when I got the call that my dad had, been arrested, facing all these charges, I needed to tend to my dad. Fast forward, my boss, she was getting ready to fire me. She told me to take a leave of absence, and then a week into being out, she was firing me. So I'm like, this is just not right, So instead of me pulling out the resume to jump from one slave ship to another slave ship, I started my own insurance agency. And then fast forward, got into commercial real estate, which led me to my latest and largest venture, which is Universal Salon Suites.
And why do you care about civic engagement as an entrepreneur?
It's simple. If we are not part of the solution, then we're part of the problem. So we need to show up. Yeah.
So I guess another question I have for you, Keila, is what are the biggest challenges that you faced as a business owner so far?
Okay, so I apologize in advance if I'm looking down a lot. I got my notes. Don't want to miss a beat. So I have 2 big challenges. There's still a great lack of access to capital for Black female entrepreneurs. And then there's still a lot of denigration and heavy oppression in Black on Black female, just Black on Black female. We still tear each other down.
So Representative Schofield, you are a state representative for our great state of Georgia. Could you briefly describe, I say briefly, the policymaking process, just a quick tidbit, Georgia Capitol, coming to testify in committees, how it works. Why is it important for women to stay engaged in the policy-making process as well?
Quick question. So I am Georgia State Representative Kim Schofield, and I represent parts of Fulton, Clayton, and City of Atlanta. I serve on Small Business Committee for the state, which means we pass bills and laws that pertain to small business. I also am on the health and human services, so everything is health. So when you ask about how this state is set up, so for those that don't know, because what happens is we always bypass the people that are actually doing the work with the health. So it's the governor, and then it's your state reps, and you go down to local and all of that. So everything in this state is political. Okay, so y'all repeat after me. Everything. Okay, so like politics, yes, but know that there are people when it comes to legislation that don't look like you, that are passing things, that don't understand the needs of what women and women of color actually it takes to run a business here in this state. So when you say things are what happens at the state level, one of the things that I keep hearing is a resounding message that we don't have access to capital. Well, how many of you have ever come down to the Capitol and tell us that? How many of you ever called your state representative? Okay, let me back up a little bit. How many of you know your state representative or your senator? Oh, I'm gonna turn to me, I'm talking to the wall. So if everything is political and you have some problems to access, wouldn't the next step be to engage with the policymaker that is making these decisions for and about you, without you? Yeah. So you have a voice here and a leverage, an untapped potential that you guys not only your own cheerleaders, but you guys have the power to influence the policy to say that we change. So when there's something you don't agree with or have some challenges about, we have hearings. So, you know, I used to be on the board with 9 to 5. They are my heart and soul and reason why I'm sitting in this chair, because I got tired of people making decisions that don't understand what it's like. I got tired of making other people rich. People don't buy my gifts, they rent my gifts when I go to your job. And if I'm lucky enough to bring my gift to your job, then you pay me what I'm worth, you give me access to what I need, and you help me bring somebody else on. So when we talk about the policy behind that, what we do is, you know, you come with an issue that you want to see a policy change on or a policy addition. We sit down, we talk about it. And then what happened is, because I'm a representative and I may not represent your district, but guess what? I'm a state representative, which means across the state, I represent everyone in this room. So you come and you sit down, we talk about policy, we talk about what can be done, and then I represent your issue to a larger audience and get them to buy in and change some laws. It's that simple, but yet it's that complicated. It takes a good while for us to get policy passed. Why? Because every session is 40 days down at the Capitol. We start January 9th, but it takes us, if we see over 1,200 bills and read over 1,200 bills a session. And out of those bills, I am a Democrat, and out of those bills, we may not get a hearing on the bills that we need, and maybe only 3 Democratic bills get passed. So which means we do have relationships across the aisle, but because you have a relationship and we don't hear from the voice of the people that it affects, you know where that goes? It goes to the bottom of the barrel. We can talk about 9 to 5 and how tackling the Family Care Act, how long it took us to get that done, and other bills. So the process really does start with you guys. You have the voice, but I have the power to pen. And if you don't talk to us, we don't know. We're very myopic. So I'm gonna stop there.
And I think this will be my going there and just hearing the business groups that speak on policies that impact entrepreneurship. Oh,
We want to make sure our people online can hear.
testing,
everyone.
testing.
So when you speak.
Thank you. But there's no representation of business groups that are speaking on issues that affect not only minority businesses, but folks that are self-employed, independent contractors, gig workers, less than 10 employees. Like those micro businesses need support as well. And thank you for that answer, Representative Schofield. And you brought up 9 to 5. Allison, I want to turn it over to you. Can you just share a little bit about your organization, some of the policy priorities that you all focus on? National Association of Working Women. Women are always working, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's being a mom, whether it's being a superhero, all of the above. So can you just share a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. First, thank you so much for having us. My name is Allison. I am the Policy and Training Manager with the Georgia chapter of 9 to 5. We are a national nonprofit organization. We have been around for almost 50 years. And our members and our organization has been at the forefront of fighting for economic security for all women, for all families, but specifically for women of color for these past 50 years. And so we have one of our biggest advocates at the Capitol with us today, Rep. Schofield. And as she mentioned, we are very active on the policy realm because we know that all of the individual struggles that we have a structural, systemic connection. And for those things to be solved at the root level, it does take policy change, right? And so some of the things that we are working on, excuse me, and have worked on with Rep. Schofield, all workers, all folks in Georgia need access to paid family and medical leave so that we can take care of ourselves when we have medical issues, so that we can take care of our family members when they have medical issues, when we have family, when we have babies, when we're adopting, all of those things, right? And what we know is that such a small minority of workers, period, have access to those things. But especially when we look at women, when we look at women of color, when we look at folks who are working for small businesses, and when those big moments in our lives, whether they're emergencies or really wonderful things that happen in our lives occur, and folks don't have the ability to have paid leave off, a lot of times people they lose their jobs, right? And it cascades into so many other issues. You spoke to that, right? You needed the time to take care of your family and you didn't have it. And thankfully, you're on maybe a much better road now, right? But for some folks, that really is incredible hardship and can affect everything else going on. So passing good policy around paid leave is absolutely one of our priorities. Another priority is pay equity. We know that in 2022, women are still not paid the same rate as an average white man. All women together, right? Average together. We are still earning, I believe this year it's maybe 82 cents to the dollar. When we break that number down and look at women of color, and when we look at Black women specifically, this year, we mark these days of the year that women have to work to equal that average of white men from the previous year. Usually Black women's equal pay day is in August, as in it takes until August of 2022 for Black women to make the same amount of money as the average men were making in 2021. This year it was September. It's gotten even worse, right? So equal pay is a incredibly important policy that 9 to 5 has been working on for honestly, our 50 years of existence, because we need to make more progress. We are introducing policy that would make pay ranges transparent when people are applying for jobs, making salary ranges, making it illegal for people to ask, for employers to ask about your past salary history. Because if you weren't being paid fairly at your last job and you have to say that same rate for your next job, that is just perpetuating that cycle, right, of pay inequity. So we know that there are things that we can do to make those pay rates more just, right? The third thing that we're working on is making sure that people are not, excuse me, discriminated or harassed on the job. We know that that is still happening. We know it happens even more for women of color, for people who are working at the margins. And of course, again, right, that has a whole cascading effect on people's lives. Everyone should be respected and be safe at work so that they can stay working, stay a part of the economy, right? So these are some of the policies that we're working on, and you all play such an important role in passing those policies.
Thank you, Allison. Representative Schofield, can you speak a little bit about your policy priorities for this upcoming session? I know we hit paid leave. I know you are doing a lot with minority contracting. Can you just give a little insight on what you're going to be focusing on for women of color and business?
So what I'm really going to be focusing on this session, a number of healthcare initiatives, but is passing the Crown Act. So I'm not sure if how many know about the Crown Act. It's creating a respectable world for natural hair, and tell you why that plays such a big importance here in Georgia is because people are discriminated against at the workplace because of the hair that comes out of our head. So we are being denied, and sometimes you'll never know, but you'll be denied promotions. Kids are having problems in school because they are wearing their hair twist, or, guys especially, although, this is targeted at women, I'm including everyone that has faced this housing discrimination. So those are issues. And so part of the thing in Georgia was because it did impact Black women, we were told that they'll never get a hearing on this bill. So what we had to do was to go and start passing it through local municipalities, through your cities, through your counties to get this done. But what I recently discovered is that everybody's on this big kick of diversity and inclusion, right? So how are you going to talk about diversity and inclusion and I can't wear my hair? So I'm now meeting with companies and looking at the policy, your dress code.
Right.
If you want to start with being inclusive, then let me be who I am, and don't define beauty as the standard of what you think beauty is. So there's a freedom in that. Again, I'm going to be looking at some tax credits for business and business owners, especially minority-owned business. We have a problem here in Georgia where we are only getting 3% of the minority contracts. But guess what? They're not really going to Black women. It's a total of white women that are taking the contract. So we really only get 2%. That's disgusting. Okay, how many of y'all know the Georgia minimum wage? No, that's the federal.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So you're saying, oh my gosh, how can you be a business owner and not know what the minimum wage is in this state? See, we've got to educate ourselves as to the policies and everything. Again, everything is what? Okay. If you don't move the needle in a policy, then again, what you're doing is you may be in business for umpteen years and you thinking you're making this, but guess what? If they got $2 billion, if you got $2 billion contract, guess what they're getting?
Probably 40.
There you go, 40 billion. We want our money. Okay. I don't want this whole, okay, if you're not at the table, you on the menu. I don't care about all that. What I do care about is stop giving me the crumbs.
Exactly.
Okay. I don't even want the loaf. I want the recipe. Because I can tweak here based on my needs. So my policy is going to have, I've got another couple of policies that I'm doing racial impact statements on some of my policy, meaning how does it and who does this impact? And how? We're looking, I'm working on addressing banking, credit, deserts. And the reason why that's important to small business owners is when we look at access to capital, and a lot of times, and we're thankful for JP Morgan and some of the, and the banks and all of those that are doing all of these programs for women, but those didn't just happen. There's been people behind the scenes that's been raising a whole lot of hell saying, listen, guys, you have a credit CRA score and you saying you're doing this. I got maps that show you exactly what you're doing. So let's sit down and have a corrective action plan. So you're seeing a lot of things, but let me put a caveat here. Just because we women are scaling up and these companies are coming to the table, don't silence the voice of the Black man business either.
Yeah.
So, because you got to watch how they play both sides against the middle. The last thing I say about the policies that I'm working on are they're, again, very inclusive policies, which means, and I think to your point, you can't no longer say, okay, I can't work with other Black women, and but y'all gonna have to put that, if there's only limited amount of resources that we fighting, instead of me baking you up, breaking you a little bit and breaking you up, I'm gonna need y'all to come as a group, come as a block.
Right. It's enough to go around.
There's more than enough, because you are creating stuff that's never been created. Okay. And so what happens is Georgia can't keep up with the innovation and the needs of minority businesses, Black women, because we're always doing, I mean, a vagina bomb. I know my vagina need to be blown up.
Okay, girl, let her go. Let her go.
So I'm saying that we've got to collectively, we've got to be smarter. We've got to be intentional. We've got to be innovative. We've got to be collective.
Yes.
That's how you move the needle in Georgia. And then you got to come together.
Amen.
Yes.
Keela, you are an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You are an amazing, empowered Black woman, and you are in the space. Everywhere I go, there's Keela Taylor. Everywhere. You're a part of the the YEC at the Atlanta Black Chambers. You are on the Georgia Small Business Majority Small Business Council. You're using your voice. This girl just had a article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution published to talk about the Inflation Reduction Act. Like, she is out there. Can you just give a little bit of insight? How has getting civically engaged, putting yourself out there as a business owner, speaking about your personal experience, how has that really helped? Sorry, I lost my question. How has that helped you in your business, using your voice, being civically engaged? How has that helped you so far?
So to your point, I'm the current chair for the Young Entrepreneurs Collaborative Group, which is an affinity group to the Atlanta Black Chambers. And like leading in these roles, it has allowed me to create events or curate events that's around real life matters where I've personally and professionally, I've been affected. Like, I've been sued. I got hit by the IRS twice. Home went into foreclosure. So I'm taking my story and I've made enough mistakes and I've had enough experiences so that all of us in this room don't have to. I attend the NPU meetings.
Can you tell people what NPU stands for?
Yeah. So the NPU, they are the Neighborhood Planning Unit Committee meetings. And these meetings, they allow you to closely just stay in the know of what's happening in your area. So we get firsthand reports from city, departmental representatives and elected officials, such as Representative Schofield. But I want to point out that I don't see enough of us on these calls. I'm probably the only Black female millennial, and then there's probably an 80-year-old Black woman on there, and the rest, they don't look like us. Yeah.
That representation is important, especially when, as Representative Schofield alluded to, people are passing policies and there's not an alternative voice to speak on those policies that impact entrepreneurship, that impact contracting, that impact access to capital. And if there's nobody speaking alternatively to what, to be frank, white men are passing in Georgia, they're not going to know. So it's important to, and I think there's also this stigma at the state capitol that you have to be a lobbyist, you have to be an elected official to even come to the Capitol. All you need is your ID. You walk through security, go to the committee room and sign up on the sheet. And I want to testify on House Bill, et cetera. I know one example, last legislative session was House Bill 78 by Representative Roger Bruce. And that bill would establish a division of supplier diversity and the Department of Administrative Services that would create a disparity study that it would actually look at all of the state contracts that are being distributed in the state to see where they're going. They usually go to white women. That's the minority, we're the bad guys. And not bad, but you know what I mean. But minority women, yeah, that's great. But at the end of the day, like, only a certain percentage. So that is a one bill that I know, Keela, you were signed up to testify to speak. And there are just so many loopholes sometimes when it comes to policy. So it's important to show up and to be vocal and to pull a seat up at the table, like scooch in, create your own table and just make sure that your voice is in the room because it's so necessary.
Can I just jump from one
Yeah,
quick-
of course.
I'm just going to ask this question. How many of you have ever been to the Georgia State Capitol?
A handful.
Good, about more than half. Okay. So it is, you don't need any magic pill to get it. It's the people's house. Are y'all the people?
Yeah.
They come to your house.
Love it.
Yeah. And I mean, Representative Schofield, the people at the state capitol are representative of you. Your taxes are paying for them to do their job. It's not this 17, maybe not $17,000, but I say that to say to not be intimidated. And I'm going to ask another question that's kind of build on how you can get involved as a small business advocate or civically engaged. And this is a question to all of you, I guess. How did you first get civically engaged? Who were the organizations or people that helped you get involved? Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, perfect. 5 minutes. Do you want to start, Keela?
Yeah, so young Keela was a politician at heart. I literally got started in 6th grade at my elementary school. They had an afternoon program for 4th through 6th graders where we were able to work in government paying jobs, and we got paid with little fake money called Tiger Bucks. But you can work in banking, government, you can work at the post office. I chose government and I was a council member. But from the 6th grade, junior high and high school, I was in student council.
Allison or either one.
So quickly, I started out because I have lived with lupus and I had some challenges in the workplace. I called my senator and asked her, explain what happened because I was being discriminated in the workplace because I don't look sick, but I have lupus. And she led me to 9 to 5. And when I went to 9 to 5 and started telling my story and I realized that they were an advocate for workplace justice, I started aligning myself with organizations that I know that I needed to be a voice for because there were people that didn't look like me that had a chronic disease that were being displaced and really discriminated in the workplace. And ultimately my work through the Lupus Foundation as an advocate, I became a policymaker. So I write policies based on the disease that I have and affects the workplace. I do a lot of workplace justice of making sure people can stay in their jobs when they're sick.
Maybe you can speak to the fellowship and stuff as well. Bigger question, how can women that are in the room now, what are next steps to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the biggest next step, right, is we have a very important date coming up on November 8th. Hopefully folks are actually planning to vote early this year. I mean, that is one of the most important ways that the immediate next step will be to go to that ballot box because we need more and better representation like Representative Schofield in those seats at the Capitol so that we can advance these policies forward that would benefit our communities and our interests, right? So that's the immediate next step that I hope all of you will take. After that, right, just like Rep. Schofield said, the next legislative session is starting. We will have 40 days of folks talking about these policies and talking about the issues that affect our day-to-day. Georgia loves to say that we're the #1 state to do business. You all have so much power as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as workers, right? If we're going to be the best state to do business, here are the things that we need to be successful. The folks who are in power now, they love talking about supporting small businesses. Then show up and tell them what you need for your small business, right? So we hope that you will engage through that process. 9 to 5 tries to make it as easy as possible for folks to engage. We send out action alerts. Here's what's happening. Here's how you click this button right here to email your representative to express your opinion about this policy. We will have lobby days where we will take you to the Capitol. We will walk you around, help you make appointments with your representatives, help you, support you with talking points, like try to make it as easy as possible. Because let's be real, like the Capitol can be intimidating. They don't make it very accessible, right? Intentionally. So that's what, our job is as a nonprofit, as an advocacy organization, is to try to lower those barriers, take away those hurdles. We'll go together, go visit our friendly folks like Rep. Schofield, get jazzed up, and then go see your folks, right? And talk to them about the real issues that you're facing. So that's definitely another next step. The last one I'll say is please join 9 to 5. Sign up for our email list, find us on social media. The number 9TO, the number 5.org is our website. Sign up and you will get those action alerts. You will see when we're going to the Capitol. You will know when we're partnering with Small Business Majority, which is one of our very close partners, when, hey, this bill's coming up that would affect you all. Come with us. We need to make our voices heard. So that's the final next step I'll share.
Thank you all. I'm going to wrap up real quickly. I just want to say thanks to the panelists. I also want to say we have at Small Business Majority, we are a national organization, but we also are in 9 states around the country. I'm our Georgia director. We also have a Georgia Small Business Council, which are really our go-to spokespeople. So when there are bills that come up, when there are media opportunities, we get reached out by reporters all the time. Do you have a business owner that can speak on workforce shortages? Just had somebody in the Wall Street Journal the other day that we connected. So really elevating the business voice, especially for Black women and minority entrepreneurs. If you're a Georgia council member, could you just raise your hand? I think Lisa's here, Pam, Taliba, you're on our national council. We got Keela. So these ladies are, really involved in the community space. Feel free to talk to them about the council. You can come talk to me about how to get involved with our organization as well. But the biggest thing I want you to take away is your voice matters. People want to hear your voice. It's important to share your unique perspective when it comes to policy making. And if policy is going to work for anyone, why not work for you? So thank you.
Can I say something real quick? And also, I don't know who's on the Zooms or whatnot, but if you're not a member of WEOP, I highly suggest joining. WEOP, they have put us in rooms where I know me personally, I would not have been able to get into on my own. Because of WEOP, I know you, Rachel. So WEOP.
Great plug. WEOP.
Thank you.
Fantastic job. Before you get up, we have a gift for you. You talked about that vagina bomb. Vagina bomb. Okay. But there is a gift for you. So first, I think there were so many great nuggets that came out of that discussion. And I think the one that I really honed in on is the fact that there are things we could do short term as well as long term. And so, short term, I think you went through the list. You have to vote, sign up for more information, get involved. But there are some other like grants and funds that are happening right now that you can tap into. So I just wanted to highlight a couple that are happening in Atlanta. We know there's the Creative Industry Grant Fund that's happening. They literally are accepting applications until November 9th. And I think they're giving away about $750,000 right now with a workshop that will take place November 2nd. So that's one thing that should be on our radar. Right now, we are seeing that there's about $2.2 million that's being distributed in August. This is around Invest Atlanta. So let's make sure that that is on our list to make sure we're tapped into and to stay connected to. So I think that short term, long term, we all know, like if we are not getting involved, I actually am inspired to continue to like strengthen my connections politically. But I think some of the acts that you guys highlighted up here really do have an impact on us, and for us to understand that more. I was like, it was kind of quiet when you asked about the minimum wage. So like, let's get on top of this stuff. So I think there's some work for us to do just to see how we can impact policy long term. But I think that was great inspiration. And thank you for making it feel accessible easy and inspiring us to do it. So thank you so much.